Well, hello. It is Wednesday, April 22nd, and here we are for today's AP English Q&A session. So, if you've just come out of that class about how to organize your essay, you see one of the things that we've talked about in class all year long, and also talked about it last year in AP English Language for those of you who are in that class. So, I'll talk about that a little bit first. In the class, they said that you could organize your essay in three ways. One was by insight. Two was by finding different chunks in the text that you were interested in talking about. And number three has to do with devices. A lot of you like to organize your essays by devices. So I'll start by talking about that approach first. Obviously, as they said in the class, that is a valid way to do it. You are allowed to write about one device, imagery, simile, metaphor, and then write about another device, paradox, irony, whatever you think you've found and can write about. There are a couple of, shall we say, drawbacks to this. And one is that you end up overlapping with yourself and you use the same device twice. And you can't do that. You can't use one device in a body paragraph and then use the same device in a discussion in the next body paragraph. Your commentary is going to be the same. You're going to make the same point. You're going to be redundant. You're going to lose points. I would say that's the biggest risk of that, the overlap. There's also the fact that you might miss out on something important because you're only looking for devices that you can recognize. Now let's talk a little bit about organizing by chunk within the larger passage. For example, for practice essay number 6, I recommend adding constant distraction, the perfume machine in the room providing constant distraction, because that's a good way to turn emotions off, is by distraction. Just getting things out there to, get your mind off what you're thinking and start, thinking about something else. And a lot of times we use distraction intentionally because a conversation is not going the way we want it to, and we want to change the other person's line of thought, so we distract them. Or, we're feeling really angry or sad or down about something, and we're like, I've got to get something. I got to get this off my mind. What can I do? So we pick up our phones or, put on Netflix or, call a friend or any of those strategies out there. And then the second insight might be, wow, this nurse, there's something wrong with her. She doesn't get where John's coming from. He's come to the hospital to visit his mother who's dying, and she doesn't understand why he's upset. She thinks that he's in a hurry. She has no idea that he would even come to see someone, because that was rare. And then when he talks about his mother, she blushes, she turns hot. She doesn't know what to say. So it's pretty clear that something's happened to her to turn off her emotional cortex. Now, can you tie that back to the government and technology from that passage? Well, from your knowledge of dystopian literature, you know that this is a common tactic. Totalitarian governments say, we don't want anybody feeling loyalty to anyone. So that would be something that you could have talked about in your commentary. So there are your three strategies. Do you use device? Do you use insight? Or do you use parts of the text, what they call chunks, to decide what your body paragraph is going to be about? Again, I recommend staying away from devices as an organizational tool. So did Mr. Escobar in the class. And if you haven't watched the class for today, the link will be up. Well, I put it up in Remind earlier today. You can watch it again or watch it for the first time if you haven't, and you can see why he thinks going by device is a poor idea. And I tend to agree. Are there any questions? I didn't see any questions in Remind. So any question of essay organization? This passage that they're talking about in the classes this week, that's the passage we're going to write practice essay number 7 about. So hopefully, you're paying attention to some of their insights so you can get a sense of how you might proceed. So, any questions in the room? Okay. I'd like to also step away. We'll put down just a couple of reminders. May 13th is your test, 1 p.m. Want to make sure you're off work. Want to make sure your parents and siblings know that they need to respect your space and keep things quiet, for the time you're doing not only this test, but any other AP tests that you're taking. If you don't have a device that you can use other than your cell phone, you need to send me a message, and there's a link that we can get hold of the College Board, but we have to do that by Friday because apparently it's going to take some time to get what you need. I did read in the Dallas Morning News that there are still 21,000 DISD students without Wi-Fi. That was as of Sunday. So if that's still you, I know there are some of you who are relying on data and other forms of internet other than Wi-Fi. Let me know again, and I can send somebody to the College Board too, and they'll find a solution for you to take not just this test, but your other AP tests. Senior grades are due by May 15th. You should get your report. Your report cards should be accessible today, April 22nd. So, and your parents can request a report card by mail if they want one. I think that's all for now, school-wise. I would like to, step away from the teaching role for a second. And I've seen a lot of things on Twitter and social media with respect to the school's reaction to the passing of Terrion Jefferson. And, as I put up in reminder, I didn't have him in class, but, you get to know the kids you teach a lot more closely than the kids you see in the hallway. But, it was pretty clear that he provided a lot of glue to the class of 2019. And it seems from what I'm hearing that, he's also had a lot of friends in the lower classes. So your class and then, the class beyond. And there are people like that, they exude a lot of energy. And they're so positive and they're so optimistic and they're so inspirational. And then something like this happens and you ask yourself, well, how could this have happened? How could somebody who's so up and, how could somebody have so up, we don't know, quarantine is a difficult time for anybody. And I understand that it's hard being at home, crammed in with, if you have a lot of people with you. And, so when we ask ourselves why, it's a question that we can drive ourselves nuts answering. But, when someone like Terrion leaves far too soon, it's a challenge for the rest of us. How can we be the glue for the people around us in ways that Terrion was? How can we bring positivity to our situations and our scenes like Terrion did? It's a challenge because when a person with that much positivity is suddenly gone, then it's up to the rest of us to make up the deficit. And losing Mr. Warnock and losing Terrion so quickly, those are two people in the Sunset community who gave out a lot of positive energy that the rest of us now will have to replace. And you guys, you're going forward, graduating. The challenge is on you to take that out into the world. How are you going to be positive to others? How are you going to bring energy? And hopefully we can draw some solace from that. But I know that it's a sad time for a lot of you. I was talking to my daughter last night, and I was asking her, because she is a sophomore in college, finishing her sophomore year, and she's about to transfer from community college to a 4-year school. She's in the process of choosing which school she's going to accept. And she said, Dad, it just doesn't seem like, I just wonder what the future is going to be like. Is there going to be a future? And, I get that. As someone who this would have been my 30th high school reunion. We're having a virtual reunion on Saturday. So it's been a long time since I've been, in a situation where you are just coming out of school. But you look back in history, pandemics aren't forever. The Spanish flu, 1918, it did take over a year to work its way out of society. People built enough immunity to where it wasn't a problem anymore. And so coronavirus could be around with us for a while, could be around with us, for over a year. Does that mean, we're going to be locked up in our houses for a year? I doubt it. But it will pass. And, there will be a time when you can come out and go forward. So don't let choices as far as your future slip because you're like, oh, it doesn't matter. I don't need to respond to the college by this deadline. I don't need to fill out scholarship applications, because you might think, well, what's the use? If I'm going to school, maybe it'll be online, maybe it won't, So I know a lot of you have big dreams that you're waiting to fulfill, but the time will come when you will be able to fulfill those dreams. And while the world may not get exactly back to as the same as it was, human interaction may look a little different when we come out. We may have social distancing for a while till they figure out a vaccine. But those of you who've worked so hard all year long, all high school, all 4 years long, you're almost there, and you've got some tough tests coming up. You've got some tough decisions to make as to what's coming next. So don't let the tragedies that have come to us as a Sunset family the last 2 weeks keep you from making the best decisions for yourself. Don't let those tragedies keep you from being kind to your family. Don't let these tragedies keep you from being a good friend. Don't let these tragedies drag you down. You keep moving forward, and you let me know, or you let me know if I can help, or if you're struggling. The school has some terrific counselors that resources that we can reach out to you with, and don't let any of this become a permanent part of your life, because it's not going to be that long when we're back out in the sun and thinking and talking about, wow, how bad was that coronavirus thing a few years ago. So anyway, I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow they're going to talk about embedding evidence. We had a video about that yesterday, and that I put up for you, and they're going to talk about it in the chat tomorrow, in the live review class tomorrow. And we're going to, in the Q&A, talk about embedding. So hope to see you then, and you guys stay safe, stay sane. Be kind to yourselves, be kind to your family, and we're all going to get through this. We're all going to get through this. So I will see you tomorrow.